Sweaty Sleepy does not suggest I listen to Jesus music.
Four.
Hey, am I going?
This is your introduction music.
Scary,
this is your
Sweaty, Sleepy
podcast.
is a safe place for women to come and share their experience, strength, and hope with menopause and women's health. Your voice matters, so use it. This is dedicated to those who don't feel heard. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be interesting for sure. So it's been a minute since I've recorded, and I have a special co-host today.
That would be me.
Yes.
Special
Guest
Co-host.
co-host.
Yes, I'm
He
very
doesn't
honored.
know he's going to be the
I'm very
the
honored
co-host.
to be here. Yes.
Yes. So Sean, and then Sean has invited, or I have invited, Marianne.
A
the
very
show.
special guest.
Yes.
Yes.
Super special guest for
Happy
me.
to be here.
Yes. So we're all special in here today. Everything's just really special.
Yes.
Yes. So, Marianne. Marianne works at Pearl River Glass Studio, and tell us what's there for the holiday season, Marianne.
We always have so much going on, but the big thing, of course, is ornaments. And this year we're doing Andy's special ornament, the Spirit Bird, in honor of our 50-year anniversary, which we just had.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, whoop whoop. And we had a big gala, a big dinner, and then we had a big open house. And people that had been part of the studio's history forever came to our dinner. So I'm making these spirit birds, and
Now wait a second.
we have a spirit bird
We
that
do.
we
Let's
could
get to the
show?
spirit bird in a second. Has Andy always owned Pearl River, or did he buy it from someone else?
Andy started it in 1975 with his college roommate.
Oh, he would
Oh,
have to
wow.
have been in college because, yeah. Okay, 50 years. Sure, all right. I love Andy. Andy Young is the owner, if you don't know
Okay.
who Andy is.
Yeah.
I do not know.
But we do have one of these
Yeah, the
glorious
spirit bird.
ornaments, if you can see here.
I love it.
Yeah,
There we
but it's
go.
not in the glare. You can see.
There you go.
So, how did you get to meet Andy?
I met Andy when I was I'm in recovery.
Yes.
12-step program. And when I first got sober, when I was 6 months sober, I ran into a friend of mine at the food co-op, which doesn't exist anymore. And she told me I should try getting a job from Pearl River Glass Studio. So I went over there, and that's how I met Andy. I ended up getting a job there and have been working there on and off about 14 years.
Predominantly, if you don't know, Pearl River makes stained glass, and they do the overwhelming majority of all stained glass work in Mississippi. They do great, beautiful work. And, yeah, I mean, I'm telling part of Marianne's story, which ultimately led in part to my story in glass making. But Marianne was doing all this work with lead, and eventually she and Billy, can I tell? Do you mind? Do you mind me telling? Her and her husband, Billy, her ex-husband, I should say.
My deceased husband.
Deceased husband. Ex is not really the proper nomenclature.
No.
Yes, yes.
And who was one of my very best, closest friends. And they built a studio making fused glass, which is different than stained glass. And they were building that, and they built that in their garage.
Oh my God.
Many, many, many years ago. And
we used to have people over.
yes.
People from meetings and stuff, we would say, why don't you come over to the house and make stained glass? Make fused glass. And we invited Sean.
I hate that I missed out on all this.
And he loved it.
He loved it so much
Can
that
I,
he
can
loved
I
it
tell
so
the,
much.
Can I tell the story of my first piece?
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
do.
so now Billy and I got sober together. And then Marianne got sober a few years after Billy and I did. And of course they met and got married. But I mean, I was over there one night, and it was me and Marianne were hanging out in their studio, and they were making glass, and I was like, "Hey, I want to make something," and so they were like, "Okay," and so they had really large forms. We would make these plates or bowls or dishes, whatever, and we had these forms that the glass would ultimately slump down. Well, I went over there and I was like, I want to make one of these, and I picked out the largest form, which was an oval about, I don't know, I mean, at least 15 inches long. Okay, big oval. And Billy didn't say anything to me. He told me later, he was like, I was so pissed because you picked out the biggest piece of glass that you could make, and I thought this was going to be terrible. And it was big waste of glass and all this kind of crap. Well, so anyway, I mean, this is day one. And so I'm like, I'm getting some tips and pointers. And so eventually I put together this piece, and it actually turned, I mean, it's not a great piece of mine, but for my very first piece, it turned out really, really good. And Billy was like,
you're a natural.
Billy was like, I was so effing pissed when that glass got done because you came in here and your very first piece was good. And of course, he didn't tell me that for a long time. He eventually owned up to the fact that he was mad at me. But long story short, I kind of helped them do some shows. They ultimately they juried into the Craftsman's Guild. They eventually became fellow members of the Craftsman's Guild. I followed suit. I juried in. I ultimately became a fellow member of the Craftsman's Guild, all infused glass. We worked as a collective studio for over 10 years. And we made...
You and Billy and
Marianne. And we made all of our glass, predominantly all individually, but we collectively worked together. And we marketed it all under Banjo Moon Fused Glass. We do have a Facebook page.
We don't have that.
There still are some few pieces out there that could probably be sold, but you know, we haven't made any in a while together, which is, I mean,
it sounds like that needs to happen real soon.
It really should. I mean, I love it, and it just I had a lot going on in my life. She had a lot going on in her life after Billy died. We made some glass a few times, and quite honestly, and I know, I mean, I'm sure she knows this about me. I can't believe if I haven't told you, I should have told you, but it was hard for me, you know, because after Billy died from cancer almost 10 years ago. I mean,
10 years.
10 years ago next month.
Oh, so it's
December 19th. It'll be 10 years.
We'll celebrate.
And so it was really, really tough. You know, but I love being with Marianne when the few times that we were back in the studio, but the hard part is, you know, I mean, there was like a part of your soul that was missing because so much of what we did together was collaborative in the sense that, you know, when I was making a piece, I would talk to Billy, I would talk to Marianne, we would get tips and pointers. Marianne didn't really need tips and pointers from Billy and me.
Because she was so good.
Well, because I've been doing it.
Well, she had been doing it, but Marianne had a very different style from me, and mine was more geometrical, very orderly, which probably came from the other side of my brain, which Marianne and I have definitely talked about. And Billy was kind of a neat little mix. He was kind of a combination of Billy and Marianne. Marianne and Sean screwed that up. And so, but when we would work together, I mean, it was just. So every time I was in there, you know, I just felt this sadness. I mean, and it was tough. I mean, because you miss this person that you love, and I still love him, and I still miss him. I mean, and so it's hard. I think it took me a while to really fully understand why it was so tough for me to go get in the studio. I mean, Sarah is telling me all the time, my wife is telling me, I really wish you would, you know,
do that again.
Well, she loves my work, and she knows that makes me really happy. And, you know, she's like, I really wish you would find the time and the ability to do it. It has been difficult because I've had an extremely busy life the last 10 years, but it is something that I love, and it's something that I cherish. And I mean, I know I'm being biased, but I think we do good work.
Well,
we did great work.
what y'all don't know about me is that I'm very artistic. So I've always wanted to go to the studio and take a class at Pearl River.
Well, you should. You should come over to the conservatory and take a class.
Yeah. I did tour it actually before.
But probably the three of us could actually get together just in the garage sometime and make some glass.
I would love that. I've always thought about doing jewelry in glass making.
You can do that.
Yeah.
There's a ton of information on that. Lots of YouTube videos.
There are people
A
that do.
ton of
they'll-
information.
Yeah.
I mean, Marianne actually has dabbled in it a little bit a long
Yeah, I
time
made some
ago.
stuff a long time. I
I
made
mean, you can do
earrings.
like an
Yeah.
earring, and you can take a piece of fused glass and you insert some wire in there, and so
Yeah.
you can do that
You
as
could do
well.
rings and stuff, where you have an inset and you put it in there. But
Well, and I think, for me, doing artistic things and doing things with my hands and things like that helps with grief. Because I've experienced my own share of grief here in the past year. And um, for a while, it kind of put that creative spark out. So I can see what y'all are saying.
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, look, I mean, at the time when I started, I was a young attorney, and growing up, I loved to draw and all that kind of stuff, but I just really shut that whole side of my brain and part of my life off and went, business and law and all that kind of crap, which I love. But when I was in there and I started doing this, I mean, it had really a transformational effect on me as a person. And Marianne and I've had countless conversations about this.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the things that I loved about it so much was how what it was for me, the whole process of learning the art, the trade, the craft, and then doing it with such passion, was that it really was representative of a spiritual journey that I was on at the time, where it's, you're not telling God what you want in your life.
Right.
You're not saying, "Hey, God, I'm praying for A, B, and C, give me X, Y, and Z." You're basically saying, I'm going to go wherever God wants me to go. And at that time in my life, where I needed to be in my life was in that studio. And what came from that was this just wonderful outflowing of creativity. And in my honest opinion, it further deepened my relationship with Billy and Marianne.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed me in a lot of ways that's really kind of hard to define. But it made me see things about myself that I was previously unaware of, in the sense that, when you're young, you're growing up, you whatever it is you're doing, you put yourself in this box, right? And you say,
Yeah.
this is who I am, or this is who I'm supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, I started doing this, and it was like, okay, well, I'm more than this box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm something else. And really, it was like, I can be whoever or whatever I want if I allow myself the freedom and the opportunity to, one, learn, and to challenge myself. And I think it takes a lot of humility and patience, because two, you're thinking, can I do this? It's just, it was a wonderful part of my life, and it's something that, even if I died today, it will be a part of me that I will cherish forever.
Right.
In going through that. So I'm talking very, I don't know, woohooish. But I
I can
think
get
I'm saying
real
everything
woohoo in here.
that Marianne and I have talked about many, many times.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have never guessed in a million years that you would have created glass. I mean,
You can go on my Facebook page, and I have pictures of my glass. You'll see it.
His stuff was really intricate. It was more like MC Escher-esque. Really, these really involved, almost psychedelic geometric designs.
Wow.
And nobody else was making work like Sean.
So you had like an original style.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Big
mean,
time.
I had inspiration. I took inspiration from a lot of different artists that I loved, and you know, one of the things that I really loved early on in the process of making fused glass was because I'm getting technical here, but you're using translucent glass versus opaque glass, and when you begin to combine the two, okay, and you're fusing them together. For example, if you put translucent glass on opaque glass, what happens is a three-dimensional, vision comes from that essentially.
Yeah, the translucent glass kind of drops into the opaque glass.
And it
Too bad we couldn't do a live demo.
It adds a certain depth. It adds a certain depth to the piece, and I fell in love with that. And so I began doing a lot of things to kind of overlay and put it all together. And it just, I mean, even talking about it, I'm getting excited.
Well, I mean, I want to
honestly.
make something now. I mean, it's got my creative spark going here.
But we were in Brown's Fine Art for a long time. I mean, we were in a couple of other. We were in the attic.
We were pretty big time.
We were in the
Yeah.
attic. Wasn't it the attic in Vicksburg?
We were at the attic in Vicksburg.
We
Which
with
I've
some
been there, and
galleries
what a
in
cool
Greenville.
place.
we
What a cool
also
place.
we got selected to provide gifts to one of the international ballet competitions to all of the judges. I mean, so and
We
I think I,
did special gifts for the Mississippi Museum of Art.
yeah,
The
and
donor gifts.
we did do that, and I know I told Marianne this, she may have forgotten it, but like I don't know, I was in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, in the Museum of Art over in Atlanta, Georgia, like 10 years ago, and there was a piece
Of your stuff?
mine in there under
Heck
some,
yeah.
and I was like, how the hell did this thing get in here? I don't know if it's still there, but it was a very surreal kind of moment.
Wow, you
Yeah.
never told me about that.
Yeah, I'm learning all kinds of
That's
new stuff about
incredible.
y'all. I mean,
Yeah. So anyway, and I still have friends that have it. But the best part is I still love the ashtray story, by the way.
oh, you got to tell the ashtray story.
I don't remember the ashtray
Oh,
story.
yes, you do.
Did you make an ashtray?
So hold on. So one of the shapes that we made was this little rectangular dish that was about dimension-wise 5 by 7. Okay, and it looked like it's just a rectangle, and it would drop down, and the borders were edged up, flared up, and so back then I smoked, and
no,
and so
you
when
didn't smoke.
so
We
when-
all smoked.
I
so-
smoked too.
So when
Yeah.
we first started making glass, Marianne had made that was one of their shapes, and so Marianne there were a bunch of these
Molds.
these molds and trays around the house, and I was like, man, this makes a great effing ashtray, and it did, and so. I made that comment, well, unbeknownst to me, for I'm telling you, like 5 years go by. Okay. Now at this point, I'm juried in. We're blowing and going, making glass. Literally all the time.
Yeah.
And Billy goes, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, what? He goes, Marianne's had a resentment against you for a long time. And I'm like, for what? And he was like, because you called her piece of art an ashtray. And I was like, WTF? And he was like, yeah. And she just has never said anything to you. And so I was like, I go, well, it is a great ashtray. He goes, just shut the F up and don't say anything about it. Well, eventually Marianne did get over it. And Marianne came to me and she said, because Marianne was not smoking. And then she started smoking and she goes, okay, I have to admit, it's a great fucking ashtray. But you can use the glass for anything you want. You can hang it on the wall for art. You can put it on a table for just whatever.
Yeah.
You can put your keys in it. I have one sitting right now on my bedside table that I keep, some stuff in. My wife I made hands. We did these
Y'all
hands.
made hands?
Yes. And
Like
it was
prints? Your hand print?
No,
No.
like glass.
You made glass
hands.
hands.
So you see how
we
this
used his
Yeah.
hand is the
we're not.
Oh, I love it.
I'm not on the TV right now, but you see how this is molded.
Yes.
So we would have a hand that was shaped and cut out like my hand, and we used my hand as the mold. So anyway, I made one of the things that I made for Sarah after we got married was a hand, one of my hand pieces. And Sarah puts every night she puts all of her
rings
jewelry
and
and rings in the hand.
They're curved.
They're
Yeah,
curved.
they're curved. Oh, they sit up. How brilliant.
Yes.
Yes. Do y'all get to use a blowtorch
We've
or
used
weld
one.
or any of that?
No, that's a different discipline.
It is, but now I did use one on a piece to mold a bird. I did a landscape piece of an ocean, and I needed to I wanted to make a seagull flying over the ocean. And Billy and I used that torch that we had.
Yeah, we used it to shape stringers and do different stuff. And we made beads.
Yeah.
Billy and I made beads for a while.
I never made beads, but they did. And they used that for the beads. Like
glass
necklaces.
beads.
Yeah. Okay.
Necklaces, earrings,
Oh,
bracelets.
what I want to do.
What you want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, tell me how Billy and you met. Did you and Billy meet first?
I'll get to tell this story. Marianne's heard this a bunch of times. This will be my first time to tell it on a podcast because people have heard this story. And so,
Good one.
So, the first time I met Billy, I didn't know who he was, and so, both Billy and I got sober in 1988. Right?
Damn, you're old.
And so, and I was a senior in high school. All right. And so Billy was, he was either a freshman or sophomore, may have been a freshman. And he was playing football at Millsaps. Okay. And we were both in Starkville for a homecoming game. And I was with a group of guys that included Dale McIntyre. And so we were at the Sonic one night, and Dale had bought some ribs from some guy on the street that was had some smoker, and
that sounds very bizarre.
Nobody wanted ribs but Dale, and we were in a big van. I had a van.
Y'all were sober at this point?
No.
Yeah, I'm thinking this. None of this sounds like sober.
No,
I had like
it's gonna get worse.
I had 10 people with me. Okay, and we're wasted.
The story's gonna get worse.
Yes.
So we roll into the Sonic there in Starkville late at night.
I'm familiar.
And Dale decided that he wanted Sonic and didn't want his ribs. So Dale is trying to sell the ribs to anyone that's driving through the Sonic parking lot.
Oh my God.
And so Billy rolls up in this big old, like 1978, convertible, his big tank of a car. And Billy's sitting on the back top of the convertible's down. He's sitting up on the back seat. And he's got what we called a Jesus jacket on. Those, like, they're like those linen kind of like ponchos, that was stripes.
Oh, yeah.
And so the kind of Western cloth poncho looks kind of like a,
That's
like a
eccentric.
potato sack. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of made out of that. You'd see it made of hemp now. But anyway, he had this big, I called them Jesus jackets. He had this Jesus jacket on, and Billy's up there. And so he's like, I want the ribs. And so Dale gives him the ribs. Well, Billy won't pay for the ribs. And so Dale's like, come on, motherfucker, give me the ribs, pay me for them.
One rib? Was it just one
so
rib?
So Billy had two friends that were with him, and they were calling Billy Jabba, as in Jabba the Hutt, because Billy was large, okay?
Billy was big.
Billy was big, and his nickname was Jabba to them. They were calling him Jabba.
Did he like that?
Hold on. So Dale believes that they're calling him jobless.
Jobless.
And so Dale starts saying, jobless, give me my money for the ribs. And Billy's sitting there eating the ribs. He could care less about giving him anything. And so finally Billy says, if you call me jobless one more time, I'm going to come down there and whip your ass. And Dale was like, and Dale was big, okay?
Yeah.
And Dale was like, okay, jobless. And so Billy literally rolls down the trunk of the car, okay? And he's standing there, and we're, all of us are around, and the fight's getting ready to happen. I mean, Dale had like loafers on. He kicks his loafers off.
Is he barefooted?
And so he's standing there barefooted. And Dale's definitely like 3 or 4 inches taller than Billy. And Billy was 6'1". He was the same height as me. Dale was taller than us. And so I'm telling one of his guys, I was like, Dale, he's never lost a fight. And the guy goes, well, this guy is a 3-time state wrestling champ. And so we were like, wrestling?
What?
And they were like, yeah. And so Billy had done wrestling when he was in boarding school up in Virginia. And so,
Okay.
so anyway,
He was All-American.
yeah. And so he had won. He was a big time wrestler in high school. And so we're like, okay. And so Dale goes up to Billy, 3 punches in the face, boom, boom, boom. And Billy just stands there, does not move at all.
Not phased.
Yes, not phased. And he grabs Billy, okay, and he bear hugs him. He rotates him upside down and drops him straight on his head on the pavement.
He drops Billy straight on
No,
his
no,
head?
Wait,
he drops Dale straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Billy
That
drops
got
He
Dale.
grabs him.
Billy drops Dale.
He grabs him,
Wrestling move.
and then he picks him up, and then he turns him upside down, and he drops him straight on the ground, head
and that
first.
is your first meeting of Billy.
Hold on. So I'm like, I'm looking at one of the friends, and I go, holy shit. And so I was like, you got to go get him off. And we're like, no, you go get him off. And so at some point, he is dragging Dale across the parking lot, and by his foot.
Okay.
And Dale's like a little Raggedy Ann doll. He's dragging him over there. He starts smashing his head against the dumpster, and we get his friends to finally call Billy, off of him. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we had to take Dale to the hospital. Had to get stitches. He was really
Stitches.
injured. He was unconscious.
Yeah.
It was really bad. Billy, if we had
Billy
not,
was very drunk.
yes,
Uh-huh.
we were all very drunk.
Yes,
And so,
that sounds like y'all were.
so anyway, and Billy even bit Dale at one point. Dale had bite marks on his shoulder. He loved to show people after the fact. He bit me. And so fast forward, Billy and I are sober. We have met each other. Okay, we're about a year sober, and we had recently met each other, and we had been to a football game, and we were all hanging out at this house over in Fondren, and we're playing like some video game, and we start talking about high school sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I played baseball, I played football, whatever. And so Billy goes, I was a wrestler. And I go, a wrestler? And he goes, yeah, and so, and I was like, so he's describing, being a wrestler. And I was like, cause down in the South, nobody does wrestling.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
we're
he
like,
went to school up north.
Billy's
He
from
went to school in
Greenville, but he had gone off to
Virginia.
boarding school. And so anyway, I looked at a friend of mine that was sitting there. I go, hey, Greg, you remember that wrestler that beat the shit out of Dale? And Billy goes, where was this? And I go,
He didn't remember.
and I go, I was in Starkville. And he goes, where in Starkville? And I go, the Sonic. And he goes, that was me. And I was like, you are kidding me. And he
Yeah.
was like, yes, that was me. And so we laughed and laughed. Just telling the story. And so a few years go by. And of course, Billy and I are sober, and Dale is not sober at the time. And
Is he sober now?
Dale died.
Oh.
And so I eulogized Dale a number of years back, and unfortunately he's not with us, but I
Yeah.
love Dale. And, and so Billy and I run into Dale after a Ole Miss bowl game up in Memphis, and we're at the Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm with Billy, and I see Dale and there in the lobby of the Peabody, and I'm like, hey, let's go. I go, there's Dale. You got to come meet him. And so Billy, he's like, oh yeah, let's go.
Whose ass he kicked?
Yes. And so I walk up to Dale, and I'm like, hey, Dale. I go, you remember that guy that you got in a fight with, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. I go, this is him. And Dale knew I was sober, and Dale was not sober. And we had this understanding, look, you're doing you, I do me, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Dale literally started walking backwards and was like, mortified of Billy. And Billy was like, it's all good, brother.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
not going to beat
I
your
was
ass
like,
here
he's
today.
sober now. It's all good. So anyway, ultimately, Dale and Billy, they became friendly. Not like Billy and I did, but certainly that's how Billy and I met.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
it was quite the introduction,
Yes, it
to
was.
say the least.
And
And
it was
so-
memorable, just like our friendship was.
Yeah. So tell me how
Or
it became
memorable,
the
I should say.
three of you guys. Like, did you introduce Billy to Marianne?
No, Marianne got sober and was, we were all young people in recovery here in Jackson, and back then there weren't a ton of young people that were sober,
Mhm.
and so you pretty much knew everybody, and you all hung out with each other. Marianne came in, and you and Billy weren't. Y'all didn't know each other very long before y'all started dating, right?
And I was a freak, like,
you were?
Yeah. Yeah, I was a freak.
In what sense?
And in which way as a freak is people that go to rainbow gatherings and go to Grateful Dead concerts and
You talking about the Rainbow Co-op or what?
No, the Rainbow Family of Everlasting Light.
Is that a cult?
Like
No.
crystals and just the whole.
Crystals
Yeah,
and
she was new age. Would be a good
woo-woo.
description.
Hey, I'm all down for the
Or-
new age stuff
we're
these
all
days.
tie-dyes.
Well,
and,
new age in 1992 is different than new age today. But I mean,
But anyway, so Billy knew. So Billy said, hey, do you like the Grateful Dead?
And you were like,
And
hell
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, I love the Grateful Dead. And we started talking and yeah, we started going out and we fell in love and that was it, buddy.
It was Katie Bard at the door.
That's
Marianne and I, our friendship, it took a little bit of time because I was scared to death of Marianne.
Why were you so scared
And
of me?
Marianne was scared to death of me.
Yeah. Well, I was scared of both of y'all.
We were scared of each other, and
Yeah.
and we had a healthy fear of each other for some reason. That was really, it was unmerited or unwarranted.
I used to be a little bit scarier. I mean, I was a little bit.
I would agree.
Yeah.
You have a much softer tone in your life.
Unstable. I'm so much more stable now.
Don't
I
touch the
mean-
glass.
Don't touch that.
I was a little unstable before this episode, not gonna lie.
Look, I was scared of you. I've told you this.
Why
The
would you
first
be
time
scared of me?
Because you gave off this like I'm angry vibe.
Well, I can still do that.
Yeah, I was a little I was like, I'm like, she's kind of, I'm like, I'm afraid she's going to like punch me. I felt the same way about Marianne. And of course,
Well,
I
let's
love
get to
Marianne with
that
all of my
anger
heart.
part. Let's talk about the anger part. Okay. So I know you guys because I am also in recovery.
Right?
And part of, for me at least, going through recovery for me was like grief. And because I was grieving alcohol. I was grieving my coping mechanisms. And I was angry, I was angry that I had to give that up, to be honest, and I didn't know how to live life without it. And so anger was part of my process.
I think a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts come into recovery with anger. I personally believe it's more tied to underlying trauma, and it's anger becomes a coping mechanism that you have long before you get sober, and then when you get sober, you're having to learn all of these new coping mechanisms, like these spiritual tools of praying and letting go and letting God and helping others and getting out of yourself, and all this stuff, which is so contrary to I'm just going to get really angry. And it was mostly a defensive mechanism. I mean, as a matter of fact, Billy used to say to me, he was like, when I first met you in recovery, I thought you were a jackass. And I was like, why? And he was like, because you were just very standoffish. And I mean, Marianne's even said this to me.
Were you?
And so when
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
I used to be, and I'm not like it anymore, but I mean, I guess I can be occasionally, but
a snob.
He's a snob.
not
He was
re-
a snob.
Well, I came across as snobbish because the truth was that I was so incredibly shy,
Mm-hmm.
that I was so afraid that you would reject me. And so if I'm meeting someone new, I was just very quiet and distant. You know, I could be close to you in proximity, but I was very distant because I had these walls up protecting myself. And, you know, anger is used the same way,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
And so, but then, you know,
We
for a
were
long
all
time,
the same that way.
yeah,
And then
We
once you
are.
got to know us, you can't shut us up.
you can't
Right.
shut us up and you love him. And you're like, you're not who I thought you were when I first
Right.
met you.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes. But I mean, I think a lot of people are both of those things.
Sure.
Oh,
Very,
yeah.
very standoffish. I mean, I
I
can
mean, I was
still
too.
be
We were
that
like
way.
two sides of the same coin and yet had the same reaction to each other.
You know, you sent us a show topic, and I was actually thinking about something about one of the things. What is it about being in recovery that I love?
Okay.
And I actually shared this with somebody just a couple of days ago. So, one of the very first things that I loved about recovery was and it's on this exact discussion. You know, she mentioned me being a snob. So yeah, I had grown up in North Jackson, son of a doctor, and been to, you
I
know,
know.
son of this Hall of Fame football player. I had been to prep and JA and Ole Miss, blah, blah, blah. Grew up in North Jackson. Okay. So I'm going to treatment out in West Jackson in long-term treatment. The meetings that I'm going to are all South and West Jackson, which is a totally different, you know, population that go to meetings versus the people that go to meetings in North Jackson now, which would be Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I'm sitting in these meetings, okay, with people that I had not grown up with, okay, that from all walks of life, all economics, you know, socioeconomic standards different from what I had grown up in, different races and different ages. No one looked like me, right? And here I am, 20 years old, and I'm sitting in these meetings and I'm like looking for any reason why I'm different than them, okay?
Yeah.
And I would listen to these people share, okay, in meetings, and I would be like, I'm just like that person. I mean, just like that person. Like there is no difference when I compare my insides to their insides. And so you know, I think that what I learned, which I didn't realize at the time, is really the essence to me of what, you know, the program of recovery teaches us, which is love and tolerance.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't understand that at the time, but that was the thing that attracted me. But it wasn't just that it attracted me to recovery. It's the one thing that really broke through, okay, to me in terms of my ability to admit and accept who I was, right? Because I'm looking at someone who's not like me and they're talking about why they drank, why they use, the effects and problems that it had on them. And I'm thinking, okay, that's resonating with me. I'm just like that. I am an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that no matter where you are on the socioeconomic scale, none of that shit matters.
Right.
And it didn't matter.
Which is why we don't say, you know, certain things about ourselves in there, because it doesn't matter if we're lawyers, well, you know, doctor,
No, I agree. Totally.
any of that.
I think that,
mean-
I mean, while it's not said, written in the literature that that's a part of what anonymity is all about.
Right. Yeah.
The spiritual anonymity,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and in my experience.
Well, for me, the best part about it is that I don't have to put on any airs or I come in there and I'm just real and raw. And that to me is just so cathartic. And,
Good word.
you know, just being able to,
Well, you find
that.
out that you can be yourself,
yeah,
whatever that is, to thine own self be true, and that you're accepted for that.
exactly.
Marianne and I, completely different worlds, but I love her with all of my heart. I would trust her with everything and anything in my life.
Mhm.
And, you know, Billy and I mean, Billy and I were total political opposites in every shape, fashion, and form. Billy and I, for 25 years, had not one single fight ever, because Billy and I separated all of that. And Billy and I looked to, and this is my opinion, but I mean, Billy and I talked about it at times. I mean, we were able to separate and follow those principles of, love and compassion and tolerance. And we were able to see each other for who we were, not, some political ideology or opinion, because none of that shit matters in terms of who your opinions are. What matters is who we are on the inside. And Billy and I were able to experience that. I'm able to experience that with Marianne. I'm able to experience that with you. And what you're talking about is just that I can come in, I can be who I am, and I can find acceptance of who I am. And that through that, we're able to recover together.
Right.
And in my opinion, my experience, my belief, to me, that's where God comes in. And I don't think you can talk about it without talking about God, because God comes in and he flows through that internal connection that, I mean, we're all children of God, and he's able to work his magic, if you will, through that human connection.
Yeah. And let me just tell you, right now, the world to me feels very disconnected. I mean, that's just my feelings on it. And for me, recovery and the 12 steps they're helping me. And what I feel is a lonely time just across the board. Especially personally for me. And that was why I want to get down to the root causes of addiction, about loneliness. Like a loneliness I could not comprehend. I mean, it is, but that loneliness is replaced with the connection with others and God and all of those things. So what about it to you, Marianne, is the most takeaway for you? Recovery.
About recovery?
About recovery, yeah.
I like everything Sean said, and that's very important to me. I go to meetings to experience that. And I mean, just one of the best things to me is the steps and the way that I've been given these tools to cope with any situation that arises, because I was clueless and lost for so long and didn't felt like what Billy used to say, like the day in high school that they handed out the textbook for how to like be a good person or whatever.
Yeah.
I had skipped that day and was out somewhere drinking, and then I came back to school and everybody knew how to act and how to talk and what to do. And I didn't, because I'd missed the day that the damn guidebook was handed out.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's a structure. It's so much. It's the language of the heart. It's a structure. It's given me these tools to be able to live through everything. Like we were talking about Billy. We were talking about, Sean's pain about Billy. For me, I could never have lived through the death of my husband without the 12 steps.
Yeah. I agree.
It just wouldn't have ever been possible. And so I guess that's the thing, and it works for everybody who tries to work it.
It does.
It wasn't just me. It's not a singular thing. It works for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, collectively we work together.
Collectively we work together. Yes.
I don't think Marianne would mind me sharing this, but Marianne's mother died a number of years before Billy died.
Mm-hmm.
And Marianne, I mean, I watched her go through it. It was very difficult. It was very hard on her. And I mean, she was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
and she struggled with that. Marianne, in my opinion, as a result of all of that, and because of the work that she did in recovery, in the steps, she grew from that. And when Billy died, Marianne had a blueprint that was formed from her own experience, and ultimately through her faith in God, to be able to walk through that and 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 not be destructive to herself.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? I mean,
Yeah.
and it was. I know that for me, I personally learned a lot from Marianne, and I took a lot from. Most of the time in life we say, "Oh, we only learn from our mistakes." I mean, I learned from Marianne by watching her, by listening to her, but mostly observing her and being there with her. And I mean, that's what I mean by that community of, we go through this thing together. And
Right.
I mean, had I not seen that, what she went through with her mother, and saw the difference of how she was going through things with Billy, I mean, I don't know that I would have gone through things with Billy as well as I at least like to believe that I did.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Well, one thing is that Billy didn't give me any option because before he died, we have a relative whose husband died, and she's been struggling with addiction and depression and this fear of leaving the house and all these things ever since. And this person has an addiction and does not have sobriety, does not have the steps. But Billy told me, he said, "You are not going to be like her. You are going to get out. You're going to be going to meetings. You're going to be working with newcomers. You're going to keep doing the work that we've been doing all this time. And you're going to be happy again, and you're going to survive."
And look at you. You're thriving.
So,
You're living out his wishes.
yeah, when Billy gave you directions like that, you
I
follow
guess you needed
them.
to follow, or he
Follow
would
'em.
beat you to a pulp. Not really. I'm
I
sorry.
never met that guy, and I am so
I'm glad you
grateful.
didn't meet him.
I just think we would have been terrible together using.
I was a fighter, physical fighter, before I got sober, as was Billy. And Billy and I were we made it a point. I mean, our goal was that we would never have a fight while in sobriety, physical fight. I mean, and he didn't, nor did I.
Did that, yeah.
Now, he threatened to have one a couple of times when this, like for one instance, we were in New Orleans one time and this car drove by and like hit him with the side of their car mirror. And Billy was so mad. You weren't with me that time. We were down there.
Good.
That's another principle is anger destroys us if we hold it for too long. Resentment, anger. It's also about forgiveness, which
radical forgiveness.
Yeah, radical forgiveness.
Yeah.
There's so many good points we could go on and on about the 12 steps and all the life lessons that are in there. But I mean, it's also been helpful for me in experiencing midlife transition, because it's about acceptance. And I could list so many things that it's helped me get through. And y'all talking about art has got me wanting to come to Pearl River Glass Studio and make some glass. So maybe in our future we could make glass together.
I'd love
That would be great.
Yeah. And we've had such a great conversation here today. I wish that it could continue, but
Well, we can
maybe
have-
another time.
We can have
We can have
Part two.
part two.
Yes.
Yeah. So
One of the things I will say is, I know we're running short on time, but one of the things you were talking about that I was thinking about is the themes of what you're referring to. Recently, I reread Tale of Two Cities by Dickens, and I think it's very fitting for the world that we live in right now. And I was watching Star Wars the other night as well, and you would think, how the fuck can Star Wars and Tale of Two Cities be even remotely related? But I mean, one of the themes in Tale of Two Cities that Dickens writes about is how those with this political anger and hatred, that if they give into that, right, that it internalizes them and destroys them, and they become the very person that they hated in their anger and vengeance. And the other side of that coin was, if you give into love and essentially, you know, I'm throwing tolerance in there of others, but really, you know, being of service and giving to others, being selfless, that grows in and of itself. And so in Star Wars, I was watching that the other night, and I was like, that's really, you know, when they're like, Luke, don't give in to hate and anger, you know, that'll turn you into the dark side.
Right.
That same theme is really, and it's a central theme in what Dickens writes about. And it goes to your point as well. I mean, if I don't get rid of that anger and that hate, I'm in trouble. I mean, I was 2 years sober maybe, and I had this massive resentment against someone who Marianne knows. This happened before I met Marianne, but Marianne knows this person, and they grew up with Billy. And this dear friend of mine, BJ, she was like, if you don't deal with this anger and this hatred, it is going to kill you.
Right.
Because, meaning, I would ultimately relapse, and I would ultimately die from that. And so, I mean, it was like this death warning that she gave me. And of course, I was young. I mean, I was like 21, 22. And I was like, oh, okay. And like Billy, I mean, if BJ told me to do something, I'm like, I'm doing that. And Marianne knows BJ. But I had to deal with that anger because, you know, that's not the way that I want to live today.
Yeah.
I don't want that to consume me, because I am capable, 100% capable of letting that consume me if I shut out people and God and, you know, all of that.
Right.
And so it's, you know, it's really, what do you want out of your life?
Yeah. Well, this has been great.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. I was feeling some type of way before I got up in here, and now I'm completely calm. It was like we had a little therapy session. And so thank you, Sean, for being the guest co-host on the fly, special guest co-host on the fly. And then Marianne agreeing to come as well and talk about some pretty, you know, difficult things.
Thanks
but that's
for
what we
having
do,
me.
right?
Yeah.
You need
That's
to
what
go
we
get
do.
some of Marianne's
And get some
beautiful
birds
glass
and let's
birds.
everybody
Yes.
blow glass together.
Has Elizabeth Robinson seen these?
And that
Yeah.
is
Elizabeth
all for
Robinson
this
works with
episode.
us at Pearl
Thank
River.
you all.
I didn't know
Scary,
that.
sweaty, sleepy.
She's been working with us for a long time.
We're still talking over here. Yeah.
They're still talking. I'm exiting. I'm landing the plane.
Happy holidays.